So when I came to WT, I knew a lot about ranching and farming and cows and horses and that sort of thing. So I said, animal husbandry, that's where I got to go. Little did I know that one of the requirements for a degree in animal husbandry, you had to have chemistry.
I don't think he had an interest in chemistry or physics until he came to WT.
What in the world's chemistry? Okay, I'd hardly ever heard of the word before. So I said, well, I'll think about it later. Well, it finally got to the point where I couldn't put it off. We had this red-headed chemistry teacher, Mrs. Estes. There was something about the way that she presented it, something about the mystique that was associated with it that really caught my attention. And somewhere along the middle of that semester, just like a light bulb turned on, bam. Boy, I understand this stuff. I like it. So that's how I wound up graduating from West Texas with a degree in chemistry. Loved it. Thought it was the greatest thing I ever encountered.
Probably the best strategic thinker I've ever knew. I mean, there's nobody that knows how to do certain things at the strategic level better than Dr. Meason.
He's able to grasp the situation and seize upon the best course of action, not for himself, but for the organization that he's working for.
He is not only a very talented scientist, but also a talented businessman.
I love his perspective. He's always been very helpful to me. He's great. He's an excellent person to get really good advice from when you have some challenges in your life.
He would say, okay, so we're going to start the second shift at 9 o'clock. I'd get over to his house about 9, and we would be working on a proposal or a briefing that we're going to do at the Pentagon. So I'd start to run out of gas and get pretty tired about 1 in the morning. But not him, not Dr. Meason. He was still going on the computer at least probably till about 2 or so.
During his career at White Sands and at Emmertech, he probably spent 60% of his time in Washington, D.C.
He is a great advocate to have in your court when you're trying to get something done in Washington, D.C. He knows everybody highly respects him.
I don't think Joan saw much of me. I spent most of my time in Washington and other places like that, but she put up with me. About 2001, I retired from the Army and spent a couple of weeks hanging around, and about that time Joan said, it's time for you to go do something. So I happened to get an offer over at New Mexico Institute of Mining Technology.
I'm Van Romero. I'm the Vice President for Research and a Professor of Physics here at New Mexico Tech. And this afternoon, we're going to blow that van up. We were looking for a new director at EMRTC, and I happened to be in Washington, D.C. talking to a friend of mine and asked him if he had any candidates, and he said, well, explain to me the perfect person to run the Energetic Materials Research and Test Center. And I said, John Meason at White Sands Missile Range would be the perfect person. And he said, well, let's give him a call. And I thought he was going to call him to find out if John knew of anybody who might want to apply, but instead we got John on the phone and asked him, are you interested in the job? And he said, yeah, I think I'm about ready to retire from White Sands.
They offered me that job, so I said, well, I'll go there and stay 2 or 3 years. Well, I wound up staying 14 years.
John was an integral part in taking a small program and turning it into a national asset.
Dr. Meason is very talented from a scientific standpoint, certainly from a business standpoint, but also his character and integrity and leadership, just tremendous. I really appreciated the support and the freedom that he gave us here within the directorate He's kind of a once in a career type of boss.
I think I met with John a couple years ago, and I was asking a radiation metrology question. I got a dissertation in explicit detail.
Everyone considers John such a gentleman and such an icon in the field of explosives.
John's accomplishments in light of mine are about tenfold.
You know, West Texas was probably one of the greatest experiences, especially in learning, both academically and in maturity. It was a great school. I was probably a very ornery student, but I managed to get through. And I learned a lot.